Hey, did you know that American Horror Story Hotel was real? Kind of. Here are 5 things you didn't know about H.H. Holmes. Number 5, childhood. So here's what we definitely know. H.H. Holmes was born a Hermit Webster Mudgett to a relatively wealthy family in New Hampshire in 1861. And that's about all we know. Oh, and then also, as a child, he was of above average intelligence. Okay. Holmes used to lie on his census forms to protect his true identity, and all we know about him is what he told us. Not me, personally. I've never spoken to him. The small glimpse into his life that we have indicates that he was bullied not only by his schoolmates and his peers, but by authority figures as well, like doctors and his dad. That's sad. Sad. Holmes would later describe an experience with his doctor where he was forced to stand in front of a human skeleton for way too long at way too young of an age. That negligence turned into a sort of exposure therapy for Holmes and started his fascination with the human anatomy. Some reports indicate that Holmes used to practice surgery on small animals as a child, which is a pretty clear indicator of troubled waters ahead. Despite being incredibly creepy, Holmes was still a rich, privileged white dude, so he found a lady to get married and had a baby and all that, all by the age of 16. He took some teaching jobs because it was the 1800s and he could write, so boom, a teacher is born. And then 2 years later, when he turned 18, he went to college for medicine. Number 4, medicine man. With very few friends and a weird as fuck personality, Holmes poured all of himself into medicine. He would go on to attend the University of Michigan's Department of Medicine and Surgery. Good, give this man a knife. Holmes was tremendously smart and well regarded by the professors, but still creeped everyone the hell out. Anyway, as I've talked about before, the 1800s was a really creepy time for medicine, so Holmes probably fit right in. A professor at the University of Michigan, Dr. Nahum White, known for his specialty in human dissection, took Mr. H.H. Holmes under his wing. Basically, H.H. Holmes went to murder school for 4 years and excelled aggressively. Number 3, cadaver mutilation. In order to practice his human dissection, Holmes would exhume dead bodies. But he wasn't just stealing these bodies in the name of science. He would also turn a profit on them as well. He would steal bodies from cemeteries and medicine labs that he was working in. He would disfigure or burn the bodies and then plant the bodies in different places to make it seem like their deaths were horrible, tragic accidents. After their bodies were discovered, he would collect their insurance policies claiming to be their beneficiaries. Because you can't be 100 unrelated people's beneficiaries without seeming super suspicious, Holmes enlisted a handful of women to pretend to be these dead dudes' wives, so they would collect the insurance policy, give it to Holmes, and then Holmes would give them a cut of that check. So essentially he was a pimp, but for dead guys. Cool. Number 2, murder castle. H.H. Holmes pretty much nailed the supervillain shtick and decided to bring this act on the road. Up until this point, he was still Herman Mudgett, but decided to drop that adorable name and become H.H. Holmes upon moving to Chicago. A little bit more sophisticated, wouldn't you say? He took a pharmacy job in Chicago and proved to be a very competent worker. He became successful enough to open up his own business right across the street from the pharmacy. Good for him, but bad for everybody else. Turns out his business is murder. Holmes was a lot of things. He was an elitist, a con man, a monster, a doctor, but above everything, he was smart. Holmes started construction on what would become his murder hotel in 1886. Holmes's hotel was called a murder castle because it was literally built to murder people. Each room was rigged to kill you either via gas or asphyxiation or what have you, and once you were good and dead, there was a system of tunnels that would drop your dead body into the basement so Holmes could play with your corpse. Holmes knew full well that he was a creepy, shady mess, and if anyone got hot on his track, they would see a road paved with skeletons. Literal human skeletons. Basically, Holmes would hire a contractor or a builder for a few weeks at a time, and before that builder or contractor could get a grasp of what was actually fixing to go on at this hotel, he would fire them or kill them. By the way, Holmes had a henchman throughout this process, Benjamin Peitzel. Ben would later be described as a monster or tool. Not like a, oh, that guy's a tool, but like he was literally just a physical tool for Holmes to utilize. Holmes would go on to force Peitzel to fake his own death for an insurance scam, but instead of finding a look-alike body to complete the scam, Holmes thought it might just be easier to kill Peitzel himself. Oh, and then later on, Holmes said that he also killed 2 of Peitzel's children just for shits and giggles. Back to the murder castle. Holmes, in an act of wicked brilliance, decided he would build a beautiful hotel across the way from the World Fair. For those who don't know, the World Fair took place in Chicago in 1893. People from all over the world came to revel in the glory of science and new invention. Albert fucking Einstein was there. If you think about it, these were the perfect victims. Visitors in a huge metropolitan city during one of the largest conventions of all time. It's hard enough to keep up with crime during large conventions, but pair that with the fact that these were international tourists during the 1890s, it made it nearly impossible. After Holmes had his fun with the dead bodies, he would melt away their flesh and sell their skeletons to medical facilities. Capitalism! Try it out sometime. Number 1, capture. In the time between medical school and his murder castle, Holmes was a bit of an idiot. He participated in some light misdemeanor crime while traveling through the Southwest, and I have said this once, I will say it 1,000,000 times. If you got a body in the trunk, don't steal a horse. So Holmes spent a couple nights in prison, and because he's an entitled little tryhard, he attempted to impress his cellmate Marion Hedgepeth by letting him in on a little insurance scam he was planning. Sound familiar? Holmes promised Hedgepeth $500 as compensation if Hedgepeth could find Holmes a lawyer to participate in the scam. Well, Hedgepeth came through, but Holmes never paid his cellmate. As revenge, Hedgepeth told the police about Holmes's plan. While the police didn't have much evidence to go on, they did have an outstanding warrant for Holmes's arrest because he stole a goddamn pony. Terrified of Texas justice, trust me, I get it, Holmes confessed to the insurance scam, but not to the endless murder. So, because the inspector had a warrant for Holmes's arrest, he went to go inspect his property. Upon inspection of his property, they found a dead body in his trunk, to which Holmes explained off as being part of his cadaver selling business, which back in the 1800s was a legitimate business. Problem is, he explained the dead body in his trunk as being from Pennsylvania, but the super smart inspector aptly pointed out that the dead body in his trunk was going through rigor mortis, which only happens a couple days after being freshly killed. Because of that, they took Holmes in on suspicion of murder. Hell yeah, Inspector. Hell yeah, Texas justice. As soon as he was arrested for that first murder, Holmes leaned into his role as terrible monster and confessed to a slew of other murders. The problem is that his confessions were all over the place. Like many serial killers, Holmes saw himself as a character rather than a human. Through his confessions, he built himself up to be the evil genius he always thought he was. According to record, he could have killed anywhere from 9 to 300 people, though I suspect it's closer to 2,000. There are no indicators that anybody who came into his hotel came out alive. All the contractors and builders that they say he fired, I assume he killed, because I'm a genius and I know him super personally and we're like really tight, and he would tell me, you know, he would like tell me. Well, there you have it, the world's first serial killer on record. Is this right? No? Well, I'm doing it. Thank y'all so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please do give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment in the comment section below. Let me know if you've seen American Horror Story Hotel. Evan Peters is just so dreamy. Subscribe to Snarled and watch our other videos right there. I love you, and I will never murder castle you.